Good morning, viewers, and welcome. It is a lovely, bright, sunny Sunday morning. A little bit chilly, but lovely and bright outside. I've just sat down to do some bits and pieces and sum up the courage to go and tackle some really mingy cars that are out there. And it occurred to me, sat down watching Joe in the background with the Dealer Chat podcast, that I really haven't produced any content for a good couple of months, and that wasn't my intention after the last one, and it's just been a case of, you'll hear it all the time, it's just been so busy, and I have it's been crazy manic, and I'll tell you exactly why after we do the intro bit. Welcome back. So yes, why have I been so busy? Well, for those of you that have been a member of the channel for a while, you'll know that I was trying to raise some capital about, it goes back 6 months now or so. And there were loads of people that were very kind in the comments and gave me their advice about not getting security on your property and bits and pieces like that. But honestly, you all know your own situations. I know my situation. We have a lot of equity tied up in our house. And I mean a lot. And the only way to release that without moving is to get a second charge or a second mortgage on the house. It's as simple as that. And if we wanted the business to grow, that was the only way really that we could do it effectively and presumably quickly. But what turned out to be a simple application to a finance broker turned into an absolute nightmare of a scenario of, you would not believe. Trouble with the mortgage companies, trouble with solicitors, trouble with virtually every step we took. We ran into a roadblock just trying to release some extra funds. It ended up with us having to find a solicitor in London, right opposite the law court, so obviously not cheap. Having to travel down there, my other half having to take some time off work to go down so we could sign the paperwork, just to release, say, some funds on the property. But anyway, that's all done now, fortunately, and like I say, the whole process took literally about 6 months from start to finish. And shout out to my broker if you're watching. Amazing, thank you very much, Mark, for everything you did. But yeah, if you remember the last video, we were speaking to Joe on the Mentors podcast, and he was saying that, you need to advertise more, and that's fine. It worked. Like, this month's been pretty chronic. We sold like 7 cars in. That's a lie. We sold 5 cars in 48 hours, and then 7 in the course of 1 week. Which left us with no stock. But prior to that, with the release of the funds that we had, I was already buying more stock to try and expand. So the stuff that I was buying to try and expand actually just about covered the cars that we'd sold. And we were literally back to square one again. So I've literally been buying cars wherever I could. I opened a BCA account, which I thought I would never do. But there just wasn't enough quality cars in the places where I wanted to buy. So given the volume that's at BCA, I thought, well, do you know what? Let's just open up and be really selective about the cars that I buy, which I was. But you all know the story of BCA. You literally get a couple of photographs and some Roger will turn around and say, yep, car's fine, it's brilliant, it's wonderful, no problems with it at all, until you go and pick it up, and it's an absolute nightmare. To be fair, it's 50-50, no, maybe a little bit more than that. I've had some real nice cars out of there, and I've had some things with some major problems as well. So all on green assured reports and all like grade 2s and 3s. So you take the rough with the smooth. I just wish there was an option to actually go and see these cars before you bid. Not that I'd be able to get to some of the sales where we bought cars from. But I probably would have missed out on a couple of them that I would never have touched with a barge pole had I heard them running and had somebody inspected them properly. But there you go. So that's why I literally haven't been producing any content over the last 6-7 weeks. The intention was to do loads of content because I actually really enjoy doing this stuff, as you might know if you've been watching other videos. And it really hurts me with the algorithm if I don't produce videos, because they just think I'm a one-off Charlie, and that's what it is. And I always think quality is better than quantity, but quite frankly, some of the stuff I've been putting out isn't really quality. I've got thousands of pounds worth of camera equipment here, and virtually all my videos, in fact all my videos, are me sitting in front and talking to a camera like I am doing today. Because it's finding 10-15 minutes where I can just sit and talk and get some content out. I don't have the time as a sole car dealer to go and shoot cinematic videos and take these nice pictures, and I just, that's what I really want to do, and I wish I was in a situation where I could do that, but I'm just not. So apologies for just producing content for the sake of content, because basically that's what this video is, but I thought I would just give you an update as to where we are and why you haven't seen any content from me for a while. So yes, as I said, after the last video with Joe and Dave on the Mentors podcast, get the Auto Trader account up and running, which is up and running and been actually really good for me. Sold a lot of cars in October, to the point where actually it felt like we were a proper business. It felt like we actually made more margin than our outgoings, which is the first time we've probably done that in virtually since we started. There were a few months at the start where we didn't have many outgoings because we just started. But yeah, for October, all the expense that we put into the business actually paid off. So I'm hoping that continues into November and December. So yeah, I'll give you a quick pitch walk. I've just screwed the camera down, so I'll unscrew the camera and then I'm going to have a walk and show you what we got. Right, the sun's gone in a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to film because the camera is really struggling. It was so bright outside. But before we do outside, I'll show you inside. There we go. Swing round. So, what do you know? You may remember the Megane Renault Sport. Still here. A poor thing will need new tyres soon. It's been kicked so many times, but it is such a lovely car. Like I said, it's a niche product, and we'll wait until it goes. So there we go. Lovely little CX-3 that I got. That's got a really weird storyline to it. So the last owner had it, I think they bought it in January. The MOT ran out on it in April. Never MOT'd it, and then chopped it in August to sell it. So when I bought it, it was had this terrible noise coming from it, but which literally was just the heat shield. Fixed the heat shield, put a new interior in it because it's not open. It auto locks this one. And you won't be able to see in probably, but we'll give it a go. So I had a cloth interior in here, and I managed to find the seat bolsters were collapsed on the driver's side, so it wasn't particularly brilliant. I managed to find a whole new half leather interior for it on eBay from one of the recycling merchants for 250 quid delivered, and a couple of hours later it's in. It looks lovely inside now, and it's, like I said, for the sake of 500 quid really to recommission it really, it's now a lovely car, really is. So I don't expect that to hang around for long, but we shall see. The RAV4's been here for a week and a day. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with it, to be honest. It will sell one day, I suppose, but I'm not prepared to lower the price. I'm going to wait until winter comes, till the four-wheel drive season starts. Hopefully it will disappear then. If it doesn't, I may just trade it on, because I can't see me breaking my heart to sell it to a member of the public for a knockdown price just to have them come back with issues and problems. Not that it will have, but you know what it's like. The SLK belongs to one of my mechanics that I work with, who decided to throw in his spanners and give up. So he's gone off now. He was my MOT tester as well, so he's disappeared off into the ether and left me his SLK to sell, which is a lovely car, to be fair. It's got a lovely leather inside, and it is a really nice car, but you know, wrong season really for it. But so that's not really mine, that's to be sold, sale or return. So he's got a free valet out of it anyway. And then up the back, that's my little VW up, all now commissioned and done. That's one of the Japanese imports, all ready to go. Got a lovely new media system and everything like that. I think I showed you that last time, but it's all registered and ready to go. That's the Yaris, the import, that's again all ready to go. And then we've kind of got an import cross sort of thing here. This is a Citroen C3 that was an ex-Ministry of Defence car. And because it was Ministry of Defence, they have special number plates, or they register them on special number plates, so you never get to know their Ministry of Defence for obvious reasons. And then when they come back into the market after they've had their lease, they're technically unregistered. So you then have to go through the process, the same sort of process that I'd go through with the imports, to register that on a normal UK plate and, you know, recommission it effectively. But I think unless I can get hold of a certificate of conformity, which I think I'm going to struggle to do, it's going to be a real issue to get it onto a normal taxation band. So it would have to go on the same sort of band that the imports go on, which is a standard private light goods taxation class, which, to be fair, isn't much more expensive since the 2017 change. It's actually a 2018 car. But then you get the questions of like, why hasn't it been MOT'd for since new? And you have to try and explain to people, well, that's because it was, you know, owned by Ministry of Defence and blah, 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 blah. And when you start talking like that, you can see, you know, customers just glaze over and then they become a bit of a hassle to sell. But by the by, you know, it's a lovely, and it was a really cheap car. I mean, I paid, go on, have a guess. It's got 70,000 miles on it, so it's a bit leggy considering it's an 18 plate, but managed to pick that up for just £2,000 plus the VAT. And that's another thing, because they are lease cars, they're virtually VAT qualifying as well, so you can claim the VAT back on it. So a bargain car, really, as far as I can tell, nothing wrong with it. Needs a clean inside, you know, but again, it's a future car to be sold and it's not ready to go at all yet. Then we get on to some of the recent purchases. So this is the stuff that I've had to replace the cars that I've sold, and then obviously try and improve and increase the stock levels that I've got. This is one of the BCA cars, and this is probably, I want to say, the best or the second best car that I picked up while out of that purchasing spree. And I have to say, when I bought this, I was thinking, what's wrong with it? There's got to be something wrong with it. But I drove it back from Crawley, BCA Crawley, which is down near Gatwick, all the way back to Northampton, and it's absolutely out of the box. It's, I don't want to say it's immaculate inside, but it's clean enough to show a customer inside. There's no marks or dings on it at all. It's a limited edition one, so it's got plenty of kit and stuff on it. Yes, it's red, but it's got the black roof on it. It's just a really nice car, and you know, it sort of reinvigorates you when you buy a car like that from auction, because you think, they do exist. So yeah, that's one. How much did I pay for that? I think we've got up at 6.6, so I'm guessing I paid about 4.5 plus fees for it. So there's not a lot of margin in it because it's a Corsa, and you know, there isn't a lot of margin in them, but lovely car. And again, I don't mind having that here because eventually that will sell. I say eventually, hopefully really quickly. Not much demand for Insignias, but this one was dirt cheap. It's the Elite Nav model, so it's got all the leather in it. It's got the navigation. Surprisingly, considering it's an Elite Nav on a 13 plate, doesn't have Bluetooth. I mean, who are Vauxhall planning to sell this car to? Presumably, you know, an exec at the time would lease this, but not to have Bluetooth. I mean, you know, it's just bizarre, the whole thing. And then, yeah, you know, you can see the paintwork on it. It's not got a matte wrap. That's just a really bad repair on the front wing. It's only from about there that the paintwork starts to go a bit frosty. Tiny bit on there, and obviously the front bumper, you can see repair's not brilliant. That's all started to flake as well. But apart from that, as far as I can tell, not much else wrong with it. So I can get that done, get it serviced. I may do the cam belt on it. I mean, it's got a service history, but it doesn't show anything about a cam belt. It's done 75,000 miles. Maybe I'll work it into a negotiation and do it that way. But again, drove this back from Stafford. Really nice drive. Pleased with that. Good car. Right, let's go outside. That's where the camera struggles. There we go. Flipped over. Right, okay, let's start at the junker's end. So, this is my quality part exchange that I said the people told me I'd get if I started selling some cars. Guy traded this in for the Honda CR-V. You may remember from the last video. He basically got sold a pup. I think he was Polish. I don't want to do him a disservice. I didn't ask him, but I think he was Polish. Yeah, got sold, which is basically a category N Civic, which Just a heap of junk. It starts on a button and it's a great car to drive, but you can see no one's going to trust a category M when you screw the wheel arches in, and don't even screw in flat. So yeah, quality repair. I mean, I gave him 200 quid for it. I don't know why. Probably just should have said I'll take it off him and scrap it for him, but yeah, heap of junk. Quality part exchange, but it'll just go off and get scrapped. That's my little Fiesta. I don't know if I've shown you that in the last video. I paid like 350 quid for it, diesel, just 160,000 miles. It gets me from A to B if I want to use it, but it's more a case of I buy a car from like a provincial auction far away, I can take that as transport there, leave that there to be sold, and then pick something else up. And that's exactly what I'll do with the Civic. I'll just dump it down to the auction, use it as transport, and then sell it for whatever. This is my lovely, and I do love these cars now, Chevy Volt, same as a Vauxhall Ampera. Drives lovely, one owner car, it's done 78,000 miles. Again, picked it up lovely and cheap. The amount of phone calls I get about these is just crazy. Not so much for the Volt, because people don't really know about the Volt, but certainly the Ampera. And they're really good cars as well. It drives lovely, you know, it's 40 miles of pure electric before the engine kicks in to charge the battery. And then that gives you about another, I don't know, 200 and so miles of range. It's quite a, you know, beefy petrol tank and quite a beefy engine, to be fair. 1.4 is probably too much for it, but it drives lovely. The only thing is I need to get the wheels off and get them all repaired, because they don't look the greatest. And I've looked at putting new wheels on, but then that throws a TPMS out, so I'll just pay the money, get those refurbished, which won't be cheap for a 11-year-old car really, but it does set it off, and there's good margin in it as well. Needs a bit of plastic paint inside because there's a bit of paint, like white paint, in the boot, but we'll sort that and then that's good to go. Right, this is one of the other cars. I say the other one, that of course was the second best car I bought. This probably ties for second best because it's a 2012 plate, it's 120,000 miles, but honestly you wouldn't know it to look at it. This car looks like it's done 30,000 miles. It is lovely, and I've not touched this, I've not cleaned the inside of it at all. I mean, it is really, really mint. Whoever's had this car, credit to you, sir or madam, because you've really looked after it. I can't believe the service history only goes up to about 35,000 miles, because whoever's had it from then until now has patently looked after it. You know, regardless about cleaning it, if somebody cleans it that much to get it to look like it is, and there's no wear or anything apart from the driver's armrest that's got a bit of cracking on the leather, but you know, with the exception of that, you know, there really isn't much else wrong with it. So it's a great car. I picked that up for nothing as well, and it looks, the red, I don't know if it helps it or not, but it looks really bright and lovely car, really nice. This is probably the best car that I bought. Scirocco 2 litre TFSI turbo, in solid, I don't know what they call it, it's, I should know because they use this colour in the Fleet World quite a bit. I can't think what grey it's called, it'll come to me. But it looks really well on the car, in really nice condition. Alloys are unmarked, tyres are all good, and premium tyres as well. It's locked, lovely, well prepared, Martin. Let's see, what can I do about scratching everything? But yeah, nice sport interior. It's a GT, so it's got like the half suede interior. Really nice, 40 odd thousand miles. The plan was that this would replace the Megane when the Megane sells. I've got a feeling this will go before the Megane. It's that nice. So that's that one. Again, it's got a cap clean price of, I think, 9. There's a bit of there's a lot of cars online that have been sat around for a while at about 11,500, 12,000, but I only paid 77 for this, which plus the fees and bits works out about 83. And like I said, it needs nothing spending on it, so I've stuck it up at 10.5. If it goes, then it's a quick profit, and it's priced like really competitively as well, so hopefully that won't stay alone for long. A lovely little i3 that I picked up from Bristol without realising it had no MOT. So we did book it in for MOT, if you're listening, Vosa and police. Got it back on the worst day in the world. It was what is it, Storm Ashley that came in, and it basically moved across the country exactly the same point that we were driving back from Bristol. So we literally drove through torrential rain for about 3 hours, with the traffic being really bad, not just from volume but like the quality of driving, the people that weren't driving with lights on because they think driving lights are fine, or daytime running lights are fine. Honestly, the brains of people sometimes. Got it back, and yeah, needs an MOT, battery plus the little, I think it's an 700cc petrol engine in it, a range extender. So battery gives you 120, the engine gives you about 80, so 200 miles total, but you can always just fill up with petrol again, and off you go. So you haven't really got to like stop and charge every time. Goes like a train to about 60 miles an hour, then it sort of starts to give up. But it's lovely. Bit mingy inside, and that's a story of many of the cars I've had. Those ones I've shown you so far have been the good ones. I don't know if I had it in my head that I thought that if somebody drove an i3, they'd be a certain calibre of person, you know, of a certain standard, that would look after a car or something like that. I mean, it's come from BMW Financial Services. So again, you know, it ticked a lot of boxes, but when I got in it, Christ, it was crawling. But there we go, that's a nice car. Lovely night. Another lovely car is this A4 Avant that we've picked up. So this is not a diesel, this is a 1.8 TFSI petrol, which is probably why I got it dirt cheap. But got the full, it's only an SC Technic, so it's got nav and everything, but it has got the optional leather. It's unmarked in white. The alloys are in fantastic condition, as you can see. There's a tiny bit of corrosion on them, but nothing that you'd ever write home about. So they're really nice. It's in great condition. But again, it was one of those ones that had an MOT expire, I think it was in March or April. So the window surrounds were very mossy all around the door mirrors and around the rubber shuts as well. It was all very mossy and green in here. But cleaned all that out, and it's turned out to be a really nice car. It needs to go in for its MOT, so we can find out exactly what it needs, but I don't think it'll be a lot, to be fair. It drives lovely, and yeah, nice car. CRV, so I've got this one, again dirt cheap, but this has got a few issues. So it's got the MAF sensor issue, so I'm going to get some, it literally just came in a couple of days ago, and I haven't had a chance to get out and get some MAF cleaner because I've run out the last lot. So I need to get some clean on that, clean the sensor, see if it's that. Then it also came up with an error code for the DPF, but it hasn't got the smoke light on the dash, so I'm hoping it just needs a regen. So I'm going to clean the MAF sensor first, get that done, take it for a burn, because unfortunately my top done isn't good enough to start a manual regen, so I'll have to go and physically regen it on the motorway, and hopefully that clears it, because once it is, apart from, it's obviously had a knockdown here at some point, because you can see the paint's starting to flake here, and this reflector, and you can just see there it's not kind of repaired quite right, and that's out of line as well. So obviously something's happened here on this quarter, but once I've got the mechanical stuff done on it and everything else, get that done, and then it should be a really, really good purchase and sale, because they won't hang around for long. The last CRV I had was probably my most looked at car, apart from the Megane. So once that's up and running, great, because it's a much better, it's in that white as opposed to the metallic brown one the other one was in. It's 3 years younger, it's much nicer inside. So yeah, and it's got a tow bar as well. So perfect for towing, even though it's the 1.6 diesel. Perfect for towing, and yeah, get that fixed, get that sorted, it'd be lovely. Yeah, 64 plate Fiesta. Bought it automatic. I was particularly looking for an automatic for a customer. They didn't tell me it had to be low engine capacity, so I bought it. It's a 1.6, and they turned around and said, no, we don't want a 1.6, we want the EcoBoost. So I tried to say to them, well, why do you want the EcoBoost for? And it's simply because it's a 1 litre car, and it's insurance issues. So I'm not stuck with it, but when it came in, it had these little like stars all over it, and I don't know if I can pull it up off the BCA listing. If I can, I'll list it for you. I'll show it up on the screen now. But it had all like mummy stars and graphics all over it and things, and you think, oh, but and inside was, I've locked this one up as well. I don't know if you can see. In fact, can you see that like grey bit down where the seat sort of goes about? Let's see, I've got my finger in there. That is skin cells. This car has never been hoovered probably in, well, since the year dot, and that is just gross. And the driver's seat is the same. Let's see if I can cover it so I can get some. Oh no, it's not going to work. Yeah, so a real mingy car. Managed to get all the graphics off it. Had a Ford Sunstrip on it as well, like one of the big old-fashioned 80s Sunstrips. So that's come off it as well. It needs a good machine polish. It needs a good valet. I might just take that down to the valeters and get them to at least do 80% of it, so I can just tart it up, because looking at it just makes my heart sink every time. Next, you can see, like, I've got a lot of cars in at the moment, which is part of the expanding stock plan. A Laguna Initiale. I say Initiale like it's Italian, but it's obviously French, but it's called an initially. Really nice, leather inside, drives lovely. It's even got like the fake wood and everything, so it's top of the range sort of thing. Reminds me a little bit of a 620 SI, if you remember those. I've got the birch fake wood inside, auto. So there's not really much demand for these cars, but when somebody wants one, these are perfect because they're cheap and whatever. It does have a TPMS fault. It can't pick up a sensor, so I need to work out how to turn those off so it doesn't keep throwing the TPMS sensor up. Freight train. It's a Tesco one as well. It's going to be forever. So we've got a Tesco distribution place just up the road, so that's where that's off to. Thank you. So yeah, it's got TPMS fault on one of the sensors on the wheels. If I can't fix that, I'll just turn TPMS off, because it's also throwing up an ESP light, which I think is because of the TPMS issue. So once those two are solved, hopefully that'll sort it. The one thing that does make me question that, however, is when I open the glove box to get the paperwork out and check, the fuse box cover was open, which always makes me think, oh, why? So I'm going to get it MOT'd. I presume I can MOT it with the TPMS, because it doesn't actually show a light on the dashboard. It's just like an initial error when you turn it on. So I don't know, I have to find out about that. But yeah, get an MOT on it, and then I need to give it a good run, use that for a week, and just find out what doesn't work on it and why the fuse box was open. Because at the moment I can't find out any reason why, but there's obviously a reason why, so there we go. I'm a little bit, this is the thing about the motor trade that I don't like, I really struggle with. So this is, as you can see, a 61 plate Fiesta Zetec, 1.25, so good solid little car, one owner, 48,000 miles. It's got a little bit of damage down the side, as you can see there, just on that wing, which won't take too much, 300-400 quid should sort that out. But I had to pay well over 4 grand, I say well over 4 grand, but over 4 grand for that car, and it's probably not worth, I don't know, I think I've got it up at 4,995 just because I want to get rid of it, because I'm so unsure of it myself. But that's where Cat put it at, and I'm like, it's surely not worth that much. don't get me wrong, it's a lovely car, it's got a service history, it's, you know, it is the quintessential one owner car that's been owned by, you know, somebody who's obviously looked after it apart from the can't be able to drive, or not being able to drive, but it just looks so dear. But I'll get somebody that will just love it and take it, so, you know, it ticks so many boxes apart from the price one, but there it goes. This one I'll do a separate video on, because this is a Polo GTI that I picked up pretty cheap, although it has done 100,000 miles ish, just under 100, so it hasn't quite ticked over the 100k yet, but I'll do a video on this in the future so you can understand exactly what the problem, not the problem, but the, what's the word, the provenance on it is going to maybe be an issue. So watch out for a video on that. I will do it. I'm not just saying that, I promise you I will do a video on it to try and explain about it. Interesting, but it's going to be a problem for me, I think. But anyway, and then finally the Smart 44. I do have another 4 cars at the workshop. I think I've worked out I've got about 27, 28 cars at the moment, which is massive, and I think it's getting to the point now where it's as much as I can manage as a sole trader. Maybe a few more once I've got them all to the point where, you know, they're ready to go. The problem is that I've had to do all this really quickly to ramp up my stock levels, and I'm having to sort all the problems out at the same time. Once I've got all that done and I'm replacing, say, 2 or 3 cars a week depending on sales levels, I think it'll be a lot more manageable. It's just that this last 3 or 4 weeks have been a real struggle to find cars, get cars, not pay for transport because it costs a fortune, having to do all the logistics, and then, you know, it's just been hard. But I'm sure it will pick up. But this thing, it's a shame. I really should have done a video on this before I started filming, because this thing was the most disgusting car I have ever been in. And again, I went down the route of, it's a Smart, I can't see anybody that's going to be driving that would be an animal, same as the i3, but this is 10 times worse than the i3 was. I mean, it was, yeah, even thinking about it, like fingernails all over it, mould like from sweets that hadn't been eaten on the floor. I started cleaning, because you could see with the orange seats, I started cleaning the in fact, John, I'm just going to get the key. Bear with me 1 minute, caller. Right, key in hand. Now I've cleaned this seat, and that's what it should look like. But in fact, let's just pull that seat forward just so you can get the full. I mean, you can see the driver's seat. The driver's seat is, the camera never picks these sort of things up, but it is pretty minging, and you can tell by the black. That's the colour the black of the seat here should be. And that is just grease and dirt and grime and horribleness. It's, you know, this is the interior, and this bit down here, that's not just like dirt, that's solid. So I've no idea if it's mould or if it's just like fluid or something that's just stuck. But I hate these things because the camera never makes it look as bad as it is, but trust me, it is proper minging. It stinks as well. Boy, I haven't done this one, so I've no idea what's under this. I mean, it is just gross. I mean, if I took this to the ballotters, they'd probably turn around to me and go, fuck off. I'm not doing that, go away. Externally, it's actually okay. But just the internals of it just makes me want to heave. And I had to so in my buying spree, I purchased this from Bichat in Walsall, and I purchased at the same time the Sirocco from Manchester. And to try and get away with like not paying storage, I mean, how BCA can charge you storage fees after like 3 days if you don't pick them up, just blows my mind. Some of the admin charges they can charge you, it's pathetic. So I had to pick this up from Walsall in the morning, drive it to Manchester, leave it in Manchester, pick the Sirocco up and bring the Sirocco back. And the following day, fortunately there's like a customer car park in Manchester, get the train back up to Manchester, pick this up and drive it back. Now when you consider that the exhaust is blowing on it, had a full green assured report by the way, the exhaust is blowing on it, and I've had to do a full, it's literally had a coolant change, but not because I had to drain the coolant, but because there was absolutely no coolant in it whatsoever. So when I'd done the, I'll just get the camera. Where are we? So that is just pure brand new antifreeze and coolant. I had to do all of that. There we go. When I picked it up, I put like 3 litres of coolant in it because there was no, and again, I had a full green assured report, not assured, essentials report, saying coolant level. It took me a while to work this out as well. I've never had a smart before, so in fact I'm going to have to put you down maybe for a second while I sort this out. Hang on. This is where this doesn't work. There we go. Right, that's done. Yeah, a full green cleared essentials report, which they obviously didn't even open that because it had no coolant in it whatsoever. And inside the coolant bay was just crud. Not contamination, just old coolant crud. So yesterday I had to run it up to temperature, put all the coolant in it, run it up to temperature, get it to a point where it was running at proper temperature, and then keep it revving at about, I don't know, 4,000 revs, just to boil through the crud in the expansion tank, because it was disgusting. Managed to do that, get all the, well, 80% of the crud out of the expansion tank, the other stuff stuck inside, so I can't do anything about that, and then refill all the coolant back up. But now it's a much nicer car. I've still got to get the back box done. I mean, I couldn't see that the air filter housing had been touched in years because it was like the screws were rusty, but the oil was clean as you like, and the servicing requirements stand up there. It says on the dashboard, you know, next service 9,600 miles. So they obviously had an oil service done on it, not the air filter for some reason, and yeah, driven it with no coolant. I mean, the issue is, where's the coolant gone? Because if it has been serviced recently, I've no idea where the coolant's disappeared to. So that's another car that I need to just get repaired. And of all of them, it's my most disappointing car because it really stands out. It looks great. It looks good on the website because it's a bit striking, a bit different. It wasn't particularly expensive compared to Cap, but then Cap and the retail price of these is so far out, and that's my bad, and that's why you should always do your check with Auto Trade, and always do the check with, you know, what Cap says and what the actual retail price is, because that one is going to burn me. Whatever I spend on that, I'm going to lose on, and I can maybe trade it out, but you know, a sensible trader will tell me it's not worth shit. So that's my expensive lesson for October, and most dirty lesson for October as well, because not only am I going to have to clean it, because I don't have the confidence to take it down to the valeters and then thinking that I've done it, you know. I just don't live like that. Anyway, it is what it is. So that's it for where the pitch is and why I've not been online for a while. So as soon as things quieten down and I get to a stage where the cars are fixed, they're all ready, I can start doing this a little bit more often, because I do enjoy doing it. And thank you to all the guys that have subscribed recently and stuck with it. I do appreciate it. I'll get the a video done on the GTI. GTI? Yeah, show you that, why it's quite an interesting car. And then, yeah, I'll go before the next train comes past. Jesus. You'd think at a weekend they'd give you a break, wouldn't you? It's an empty freight train with nothing on it. Anyway, have the rest of a great weekend. It's probably Monday by the time you're watching this, so have a great week. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.